make note that in our crest scene we do have the three magi that are there. And it is a reminder to us in a very special way of this particular gospel that we have proclaimed in Matthew chapter 2. St. Matthew telling us the story of the Magi. And really it's a moment for us to be reminded that it really is a spiritual journey for us. That's what we're on, a spiritual journey. And for the Magi, it was the same. It was a spiritual journey for them. They had not met the Christ child before the moment they met the Christ child in the manger scene here. And so for them, it really was a step in faith, to trust that there was something special going on, and then to have enough curiosity to seek it out. Enough curiosity and enough openness to try to find out what was the meaning of the star that they had seen. What was the meaning of it? Now, for us, that really becomes the very first question of the gospel for us, is, are we trusting enough and curious enough to search for God's hand in our lives? And it can be anything that's happened all throughout this year. So one of the things, of course, we're wearing masks. That's one of the things, that's a biggie. And God's hand is still with us, even in this moment. But if you've had stuff happen in your life that's been difficult, it could be a loss of job, a difficulty in the family, it could be your own personal health, it could be whatever it is, the question comes down to trusting and being open to God's love, even in the midst of the illness, even in the midst of the difficulty, and even in the midst of the challenge or problem. Now, it's not all about difficulties and problems. It's also about knowing God's love in the moments of joy, in the moments of great happiness, in the moments of great peace, if you will, when God touches our lives, and knowing that. So part of the journey for us is not unlike the Magi. They really didn't know where they were going, for sure. They didn't know. They didn't know where they were going. And in many ways, that's the way life feels to us. In a similar way, we honestly don't know where we're going sometimes, and we don't know especially where God's hand or God's work or God's love is until we look back over our shoulder. And the journey of the Magi is really so very symbolic of our own personal journey, too. And we note in the gospel that it said they saw the star at its rising, but when they got to Jerusalem, they had to ask, where's the king? Where's the new ruler? Where's the new savior, if you will? They didn't know in their lives what was taking place then. And so after consultation, they discover, of course, it's in Bethlehem. And they found themselves overjoyed by seeing the star again. So there must have been a moment in which they didn't know or hadn't seen or couldn't see the star. Had to be a moment there. And so, similar to us, there's moments when we don't see the star. The famous old phrase, you can only enjoy a sunrise if you waited in darkness. And stuff happens. But it's to be open to that wonderful star appearing in our lives. And that is Jesus. That is Jesus. Pictured here wonderfully in the manger scene. And Jesus, allowing Jesus to enter our lives and bring his light of faith to us. His light of hope to us. Even in the midst of difficulty. And his light of love, especially, to each and every one of us. So we noted in the gospel that the Magi brought gifts to them. And these were the gifts that were most important to them: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So gold for a king, frankincense for someone who is divine, and myrrh for someone who was going to die. So part of the question for us is, what do we bring to Jesus today? What gift do we bring to him today? Now, it's wonderful, I think, to have New Year's resolutions. So if you got a New Year's resolution and you're going to lose 10 pounds, or you're going to give up Coca-Cola or sweets or whatever it is, that's fine. But imagine you're approaching the manger, just like the Magi, and you say, Jesus, my greatest gift to you is I'm going to lose 10 pounds. So my question is more, and the question to all of us is, what is the greatest gift you can give him today and throughout this year? What is the greatest gift you can give him? What is the gift that represents you personally and me personally? For me, to be able to kneel before the crib and say, I give you my love, and I will be aware of your love every day this year. What's the gift that you offer him in this moment? What's the gift you bring? Because he brings himself to you. This is truly a moment of salvation. And so we are truly celebrating Jesus born in our midst as us, human being, God, man, but Jesus also who lived among us, Jesus who died on the cross, and Jesus who rose from the tomb. So it truly is a moment in which we are aware of our own salvation lived out by Jesus in the manger, Jesus on the cross, and Jesus in the empty tomb, the resurrection. In that spirit, we take now our special moment that we give to him, whatever it is, special moment, and we offer it to him on this altar. Also, during this Mass, since we celebrate the Epiphany, the dawning of God's love in our lives, the dawning of God's hope in our lives, the dawning of faith in our lives, let's also pray for whatever special grace we need in our lives right now. Especially the grace to live out the gift we are planning to give him, we offer to him today. The Magi saw the star, followed it, found him, paid homage to him, and gave him gifts. They represent us.